All right, let's go to Mike in Pittsburgh. Mike. What's up, dude?
Hey, Dr. John, massive fan of yours. Your book, Redefining Anxiety, changed my life. So thank you so much.
I appreciate that, man. I got a new follow-up on anxiety coming out, man. I'm excited to get it in your hands. That'd be great.
Oh, awesome.
What's up, dude?
Great. Yeah, so I just recently got engaged. We moved into an apartment together. We've always had a really great relationship. I love her so much, but it's always felt like we're just past that best friends threshold in some ways. Even though we are super attracted to each other and we are intimate, I don't know the right way, I guess, to get to that next step.
I'm not so if we were just hanging out, just you and me, I just met you and we're hanging out. It sounds like a guy who really wants her to like him, but she doesn't. But I don't think that's the case here. So give me some more clarity here.
Yeah, there's more to it. She's always, I guess, had trouble opening up physically. I think she has a lot of anxiety about it. And it's always limited our intimacy beyond a certain point. It's been like 5 years that way. And then to throw another variable into all of it, I've become a lot more religious, and I found God, accepted Jesus, and, I know I shouldn't have sex before marriage anyway, so I'm really honestly fine on waiting on that, but I don't know how to know that this will change once we get married, because that's sort of what she's assured me on. I just want to respect her, respect my religion, and I don't know how to achieve all of those things moving forward, I guess.
I think our culture is obsessed, psychopathologically. We're obsessed with, and this is religious and non-religious, intimacy equals intercourse. And I just reject that. I don't think that's accurate. I think intimacy means something different to everybody, and we can draw some big generalized buckets here. But with the way you just described it, what I'm hearing is a woman who is struggling with trust and is struggling with feeling safe. And my guess is her challenges with intimacy are not just physical. She probably didn't tell you everything that's going on. Maybe even keep secrets from you, or just says, it's okay. Am I onto something or no?
I think you are. I mean, and I think I'm to blame too. When I try to talk about it, sometimes I think I get a little frustrated, and then I can see her withdraw even
just shuts
more,
down. Yeah. So anytime somebody says they've got anxiety about a thing, anxiety is not the issue there. What the issue is that your body has detected something that's not safe. Stephen Porges calls it neuroception. Your body is scanning the environment. It has found something that's not safe for any number of reasons. You remind her of an old boyfriend. You remind her of somebody that hurt her. You remind her you're the picture of the guy that's pushing her past her boundaries for 5 freaking years, and she's tired of it, but she also loves you, also doesn't have any self-worth. Look, whatever the story may be. It could be 1,000 different stories. And so I less want to figure out, this is a broad generalized statement here, okay? And so be nice to me on the internet. Yeah, I'm painting with a broad brush here. I'm finding in more and more couples that I talk to, and more men and women that I talk to individually, for some, particularly men, intimacy is about sex. It's about connectivity. It's about desire and fantasy. And when you feel deeply desired enough that somebody is revealing themselves to you, then you can tell them about the things that scare you and the things that hurt you and the things that you dream about. Like, I want to live in this kind of house. I want to have this kind of job someday. And again, broad general brush, it works opposite for women. I need to know what you're thinking. I need to know you're with me. I need you to hear me. I need you to know that we're on the same page. And that is the gateway to intimacy to my body. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then when you don't have that, people go to war. Because you're both using the word intimacy, you're both using the words, we just want to get closer, you're both using the words love, and they look like completely different things to each other. And then one of you gets mad, one of you shuts down, And then you end up getting engaged because that's going to solve it. And then you end up, you see what I'm saying? And you end up in this dance. And that's when you get 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 years later. One of you is really frustrated. One of you is completely shut down. One of you's gone back to old roles. And one of you starts having a conversation with somebody at work and they light you up for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, I think you 100% nailed it there. And I think, from her perspective, it probably is that she's shut down, and that for me, I'm just completely frustrated.
Yeah. So she's not here. And so I don't want to spend a lot of time digging into what she's thinking and why she's thinking it. My concern is that you, don't feel like her lover. You feel like her best friend. You have the safety part down, but you don't have the romance part down. And for you, this is about a series of actions. It's a series of steps she needs to do, things she needs to do to show herself. And you're starting to be concerned about down the road. And I don't even know what down the road is. We don't have to go into it, but are you like wondering, like, is she going to be wild? Is she going to like do all the crazy things I've got in my head and all the things I've seen on TV? Like, or is it just going to be boring? Or like, what are you worried about in the future?
Well, I want to know, I guess, that we can have a normal, intimate relationship that does include sex one day, because she's just so closed up. It doesn't have to be wild. It doesn't have to be like that, I guess. I want some assurance somehow that it will happen. And then she assures me all the time that it will, and, that she's not holding back for any religious reason or any other reason. It's just that, she's never really done that with anyone, so it's just a really odd situation, I guess.
It's not odd at all. That's a young woman who's tired of being pressured. So she shuts down.
I see.
And you have to decide if pressure, slowly wearing somebody down, if that's how you want to come into connection with somebody. I do not want that for my life.
Yeah, absolutely not.
And also,
I definitely think I've been doing that.
Are you able to find connection and intimacy in a much broader picture? In the way she thinks about you and helps out, in the way she reaches out and says, how can I love you better? And you reach out, right? It's so much more than just intercourse, man. We're so obsessed with it. Intercourse is awesome, but it's not the end all be all of intimacy, right? It's about both. And I don't want to but you're the only one on the phone, right? So if y'all are both here, I'd be having a conversation with both of you. So I don't want to sound like I'm just kicking you while you're down, but, I don't see this changing even after you get married. That's not some magic switch, because you have not created a context where she feels safe opening up to you. And I'm not just talking about sexually. I'm talking about all the way across the board.
Okay.
And so if I'm you, a couple of things I would do. Number one, I would start and go first and say, I'm looking back over 5 years and I realized I've created a world where I'm on offense all the time and you're on defense all the time. I've created a world where, for whatever reason, my presence, the things that I have identified that bring me connectivity, intimacy, those things shut you down. They scare you. And I think as a couple, we got to call that out before we get married. Mm-hmm. And I don't feel comfortable moving into a long-term relationship when you don't feel safe with me. And I don't feel comfortable moving into a relationship long-term where I don't know how to make you feel safe. And again, it's not just you got to feel safe so that you can have sex. Sex is off the table for me right now. This is a much bigger deal.
Right.
I would recommend both of you reading Come As You Are by Emily Nagoski, and both of you reading The 5 Love Languages. Now, The 5 Love Languages doesn't have a lot of science or anything behind it that I know of. Maybe it does, but it gives you a framework. I think there's way more than 5 ways to communicate, but it gives you a framework for having the same discussion instead of talking past each other. Does that make sense? Y'all live together?
Yeah. We're in an apartment together. And
usually that accelerates. If a couple in your situation, usually if they move in together, it makes everything heightened and on fire, because you thought that by moving in together, I would feel more connected and less lonely, and you actually feel more lonely in a crowded room.
Yeah, I mean that's 100% true. It's just gotten worse, but I'm willing to do the things you said because I mean I don't even like the way that I feel like I am in these situations, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I
So,
think the more that you and again, dude, I'm saying this with all just due respect and love, okay? The more you view her body as something that's going to fix you, or the more that if she would just do these things, then you would fill in the blank, the more you're putting pressure, you're putting weight on her that she simply can't carry. No person can carry that. There's no such thing as I complete you. That whole thing that was just a Tom Cruise movie,
right.
right? And here's the paradox. You can't do life by yourself either. And so I've got to have somebody with me so that I can rappel off the edge. Not I've got to have somebody with me or I can't breathe. See what I'm
Right.
saying? And I know it
Yeah.
gets all messy and esoteric. Have y'all gone to couples counseling yet?
No, we haven't.
Okay. I can't think of anybody I've talked to today that needs to go more than you guys do. And the conversation is not how to be more sexually connected or how to deal with intimacy. That's not it at all. I think you go first and you say, I need to learn how to make my wife feel safe around me because for the last 5 years, I have not done a good job. She knows I love her. She knows I think she's beautiful. That she's the greatest in the world, but her body doesn't feel safe around me. And I don't know what it is, but I want to heal that. I want to be better about that. And that's the language I would take into it.
Okay. No, that helps a lot. I never thought of framing it that way. So,
Anytime she says I'm feeling anxious about, just replace that word anxious with your body's trying to tell you you're not safe. And by the way, sometimes your bodies lie. Sometimes they don't tell the truth. Sometimes she doesn't feel safe around you because of something somebody else did a long time ago.
right.
Right? But at least let's go there. Why is her body saying, this guy's not safe? We can't trust this guy. Why is her body saying, I got to shut down, I got to hide, I got to shut down, I got to hide? Why? Why is that? And what part of you is bringing that on? What part of you is just pouring gasoline on that fire? What part of that is completely and totally you, right? And it may be nothing to do with you, but y'all are in this thing together, okay? So get those 2 books, Come As You Are by Emily Nagoski. It's the best book on sex I've read, and it gives couples common language. It's actually written for women, but I think it's a great book for men to read too. It's not a faith-based book or anything like that, but it's outstanding. And the 5 Love Languages book will just give you all a common set of words to use together, that can maybe begin to give you all a path. And then y'all need to go call a marriage counselor. We're seeking safety here, my brother. Thank you for being open, man.